Hello everyone, my name is Prachi Daya and I'm a junior research fellow in Savitribai Phule Pune University. I also work as a freelance peer reviewer for a reputed journal. This video is about how to write a research paper and how to get it published in a good research journal. This video will be very much helpful to the students who are doing their masters and are about to start their research projects. This video will also be helpful to the people who have opted for taking admission in PhD and are about to prepare for their PhD interviews and have to prepare a research proposal, or who have got fortunately selected in PhD and have to write their first research paper. So this video is made from my own experience from my masters till what I'm experiencing and what I have learned till now. So starting with what are the guidelines for writing a successful research paper. So I'll start with the first one, which is finding and using a unique style of writing. So you should find a unique style of writing for yourself. Okay, do not copy or imitate any other author's research paper. Firstly, that is uh, ethically wrong. That is called as plagiarism, and it is considered as a big offense in the research field. So try to develop your own unique style of writing so that you can be differentiated from the other researchers and you get recognized for your work very fastly and easily. Okay, so for example, if I take a romantic novel. So romantic novels are written by numerous authors, but every author have their own style of writing a romantic novel, and we get fond of them and we try to look just for their next romantic novel. Okay, because we are fond of how they express their ideas, how they express uh, um, their emotions through their words in those novels. Okay, or for example in movies. Okay, so we are fond of Steven Spielberg, how he make his movies, or we are fond of Mr. Cameron's movie, okay, Avatar and all. So how they express themselves by directing their movies, or S.S. Rajamouli, okay, for his movie Bahubalis. Okay, so that you should develop your own idea, you should pick your own way of developing your ideas and expressing your ideas in your research paper. Then the second is have a clear understanding of the content. So until and unless you have a clear understanding of what you are trying to tell or you are trying to provide through your research paper, you won't be able to write a good research paper. You won't be able to provide your new way of thinking in your research paper. So have a clear understanding of the content, and I will explain that later in the slides that how you can do that. Then the writing should be simple and unnecessary jargons should not be used. Okay, so try to make it as simple as that. So my guide, when I was doing my masters under her, she put a quote to me that your paper should flow like a river. Okay, and that stuck in my mind. Okay, so whenever I write a research paper, I try to comprehend my paper, I try to write my research paper in a very proper flowing manner, that everything should fall by itself. It should not be put by me. It when somebody is reading my research paper, okay, they should themselves get much involved in my research paper. Okay, then develop in-depth knowledge of the subject. Then now, until and unless you have a clear understanding of the content, until and unless you have a clear understanding of what already has been researched in the in the topic on which you are about to write your research paper, you would not be able to give a new idea about that. Okay, so for example, if I know that various researchers have already studied a lot about consumer behavior. Now, I also want to study that. Okay, I also have an affiliation towards consumer behavior. I like to research about that, how consumers behave towards certain or towards different products. Okay, now I have to find a niche which has not yet been studied about. So for example, I will try to study about how the consumer get influenced by these new social media advertisement. So numerous studies have already been done on that also. Now I have to find a research gap. Now what has not been done till yet, and I will try to study, I will try to research, and I will try to provide something new to the society. And that can only be done when I have a thorough understanding of what has been done till now. Okay, then use innovative ideas and way to justify the research work. Okay, so for example, um, consumer behavior again. Okay, so numerous studies have been done, okay, on the consumer behavior, or how the consumer behave after watching the advertisement. Okay, so now something new I have to find which has not been done yet. Or for example, if someone has used some method of finding out that how the consumer behave, okay, so I'll try to find one more new technique. Okay, so for example, someone has before used correlation and regression to analyze the consumer's behavior. Now I'll use factor analysis. Okay, I'll use structural equation modeling method. Okay, to understand the different factors, the impact of different factors on consumers' behavior. Okay, then explain different scientific terminologies. So because we are researchers, we cannot we cannot hide behind a wall where we cannot use scientific jargon, so we have to use them. Okay, so try to explain your terminologies which you have used in your study by making a separate page, or by putting them in the last in the appendix section or of your research project, put it after the bibliography. Okay, so that when a layman or when a person from some other field is studying your research work, then they can at least understand that okay, by this term what the researcher is trying to comprehend. So for example, if a person from technology field is trying to understand my research on consumer behavior about electronic products, okay, so that person should understand, okay, that yes, what I was trying to tell, what this technical jargon means. Okay, then to strictly follow all the specification of approving and publishing authority. Now what are the approving and publishing authority? There are the research journals, okay, where you are, after completing your research papers, you will publish your research there. Okay, so you will submit your research paper to them, and then they will approve it after reviewing it. So in the later slides I will tell you about the different stages of how to submit the research paper, and how to reach the stage when your paper get published and you get happy and you do party after your paper get published. So that is quite a long journey. We'll discuss that in the following coming slides. Okay, then you have to strictly follow the guidelines which the publishing authority provides. So that research journals, for example Sage, for example Emerald, okay, all these journals, they have their author submission guidelines which you have to follow, where they mention that what should be the font size, what should be the font style, should it be Times Roman, should it be Calibri, okay, all that is mentioned there. What should be the style of putting your citations. Okay, so for example, when you were studying numerous other research papers during the initial part of your research, okay, so now you have used those research papers, okay, and you were trying to justify your ideas through them. So you have used their work in your work, so you have to mention their work which you are used for justifying. Okay, so you have to mention the research paper, the research author, and everything you have to mention in your research paper. Now there are different style of doing that also. Okay, so being from the social science background, we use the APA, which is the American Psychology Association. Okay, so we use APA style. So the current is APA 7. Okay, so we use that to mention the citation, to mention the bibliography in our study, which research papers we have used while we were doing our study. Okay, then thoroughly proofread from top to bottom for the research paper. So being a research scholar, being considered to be a pundit in your in your research paper, in your research study. Okay, so the research journals, they expect that at least you have proofread your research paper. There is no grammatical mistake or no spelling error which was done in the research study. Okay, so all that has to be done by you beforehand, before submitting a paper. A plagiarism analysis should also be done by you. Okay, because they expect all that you have not copied somebody's work, or if you have copied, or you not copied, if you have used somebody's work to justify your own work, you have properly paraphrased it. Okay, so all that we'll discuss in some other video, what is paraphrasing, and what are the different styles to be used, and how to properly arrange your research paper. Okay, so but you should have an idea about how to properly submit your research paper. Okay, by properly aligning your paper as per the author submission guidelines by the research journal, and to get it proofread from your colleagues, to get it proofread from your peers, and or from your research guide. Okay, so that should be done by you beforehand. Now coming to the first step, which we have discussed beforehand, is that choose a unique research paper topic. So now nothing comes to you out of blue. Okay, so you have to think about what you can work on. Okay, you should do some brainstorming with your friends, that okay, I have to write a research paper, what I can write about. So your friends can give you some ideas. Okay, that okay, you can write a research paper on this or on that. Okay, so or for example, if you have already chosen a research topic, you can discuss with your friends and they can help you come with some good idea. You can do it with your colleagues, you can do it with your guide. Okay, and you can also take inspiration from some other research papers. So this was one of the best idea which I have found by myself. Okay, so whenever I used to think of some good research topic, so then there was always a glitch that where I get stuck. Okay, so I used to get stuck that okay, I want to do a research paper on on in the banking field, but what do I do in the banking field? Okay, what I can study about, what is new going on? So I used to go on the Google, then I used to come up with different new topics, different topics coming in the news, and after that I used to go to the Google Scholar and then used to search for different research papers related to those topics. And then in there, after reading 4 or 5 research paper only, I used to get a good idea that okay, this is people are working on, or this or on these topic people have worked on, and I can also work on these. Okay, and finding a research gap for mine, that what new I can provide, what they have not done, and what I can do. Okay, so that can be done. Then conduct a preliminary research. So, as I mentioned right now, I used to read these research papers related to the topic which I was interested in doing a research paper about. So, I used to take a paper and pen, and I used to write by myself that okay, they have worked on this, they have worked on that. Now the first author has worked on this, and the second has worked on the same thing but in a different manner. So I used to get an idea that okay, so now this person has worked on the topic like this, and I can work on some other way on the similar topic. Okay, so note all the discussion important to the topic. Then search computerized academic research database. Now, what does this terminology means? This means that all these research databases, which are, for example, Web of Science, Scopus, then this Google Scholar or ResearchGate, all these you can use, all these you can go to and directly go there and try to search for the research papers. So for example, I'll show you right now. So for example, we are here and I can just type here Google Scholar. Okay, and we are here directly on this Google Scholar. It is taking a second. Yes, we are here. So for example, I write consumer behavior. So right now here only I have got. Now different papers related to consumer behavior has popped up here, and there are around 33,60,000 results in just 0.03 seconds. Now here there are different ways to filter your research search which about the topic which you are about to research on. Okay, so this we'll discuss in some other video. Now conduct a preliminary research. Now you can also make a literature map. Now I'll show you how. So for example, here I have taken this figure. So what beautifully they have done is that here they have taken that what was the main topic, procedural justice in organization. So the first part of this procedural justice in organization is justice perception formation, justice effect, and justice in organizational change. Now firstly, this author has done beautifully is that he has found out the different factors of justice perception formation. So the different factors are motives, knowledge, climate, organizational structure, and voice. Now he has studied different research papers related to motives in justice perception formation in procedural justice in organization, and here he has mentioned that related to motives I have studied this paper by Tyler in 1994. Then on knowledge I have studied about Shape's 1996. Then on climate I have studied about Noman and Bennett. Then in voice I have studied these three papers, and he has very properly mentioned here that which papers are related to which factor in the study which I am doing. So this literature map can be used by you while you are writing the section of literature review in your article. Then coming to selection of a research approach. So when you are writing a research paper, you have to come up with which approach you'll be using. Okay, so this is called as research design, how you are going to design your research. Okay, so plan and procedure for research, how you are going to analyze your data. Okay, how you are going to come up with who are going to be the respondents for your study, means whom you are going to study, consumer, companies. Okay, all that. Then determine the research approach. Is it going to be a quantitative study? Is it going to be a qualitative study? Or is it going to be a mixed method? So these, what are the different approaches? What do these quantitative design, qualitative and mixed method design? We can discuss in some other video. Now we'll come up with which is the step 4 after your research design, that you have made the research plan for your study, that okay, these are going to be my respondents, these are the number of respondents which I am going to study. I am going to use the quantitative method of studying my research, or the qualitative method, that okay, I am going to study about how a consumer gets satisfied through the research. So satisfaction is qualitative, a quality. Okay, so that is going to be a qualitative study. Or I'm going to study about number of cars which are sold by Tata in the year 2009 to 2022. Okay, so last 12-13 years of data I'm going to take. So that is going to be a quantitative study. Or I can study about what are the uh, I can study about the number of consumers who are highly satisfied, dissatisfied by using the Tata's car from the year 2009 to 2022. So that is going to be a mixed method. Okay, some quantitative study and some part will be qualitative, and then merging them together. So that is going to be a mixed method design. Now coming to develop a purpose statement or research objective, what your study is catering about. Okay, what new it is going to give. Okay, so for example, I have mentioned here that I have given an example. So this study, the objective of the study is explain the concept of environmental accounting. What is environmental accounting? Then what are the practices and procedures of environmental accounting in India? Okay, then what are the standards or guidelines which are used by the companies when they are reporting the environmental accounting. Okay, and what are the different indexes. Okay, so for example, we have Nifty in India. Okay, so like that, there are different indices all around the world. Okay, so these indices, which companies are listed on these indices, are these companies using the standards which we are studying in our study to prepare to report the environmental accounting. So you have to maintain, or you have to mention the objectives of the study, that what I am going to study in this research paper. Okay, then you can explain the purpose statement. Purpose, what is the purpose of the study? Okay, why you are doing this study? So here I have given an example. You can use this by pausing the video and you can read it down, and this is be going to be very helpful to you when you're writing your own research paper. Then, coming to how to write the first draft of the research paper. So, I'll take a very small example here. So, here is one paper which I have taken from the Emerald Journal. So, um, let me give you uh, a good example of how to write a research paper. So it is, the first is here, the impact of perceived risk of COVID-19 on consumers' attitude and behavior toward locally produced food. Okay, so here in the bold they have written about what is the heading of the following study. Then they have mentioned, so first is the title. So you have to come up with the title of your study. Then here the name of the authors is given, to which organization they are affiliated to. So this is a Spanish university, and these are the faculty of that university from Spain. Okay, so now firstly they have mentioned here the abstract. Okay, so abstract is the small summary of your study, what your study entail about. So the purpose of the study. Okay, so the purpose statement which we have studied right now, that is mentioned here. Then design. Okay, research design, which I mentioned to you, who are going to be your consumers. So here they have mentioned the consumer from 5 largest cities is Spain. The number of consumers are 1000, n equals to 1000. So small n means the sample of the study. Okay, it uses partial least square structural equation modeling. So they have used the PLS SEM, which is the IBM SPSS PLS SEM method they have used. Okay, so in that they have, okay, AMOS you can use, SPSS you can use. So we can discuss about the statistical technique in some other video. Then here they have properly mentioned what are the findings of the study. Okay, what they have come out. Okay, what was the product of the study. Okay, then what is the originality, how much original this paper is. Okay, what this paper is going to provide new in the society, and how this is going to be helpful to the society. Then they have mentioned the keywords. So, keywords is a very important element of your study. This is a very small looking part of the research paper, but it is one of the most important one, because when someone is trying to do their literature review, they write these keywords, and if you have properly mentioned these keywords, only then your paper will be reflected in their study or in their research. Okay, so then what is the paper type? Okay, so this is a research paper. Then there are numerous types of study which is done. Okay, it can be an article in the form of an article. Okay, and all that. Okay, it can be in the form of a white paper by any organization. So not just a research paper, articles can be there. Okay, blogs are there and all that. So this is a type of research paper. Now here they have mentioned the introduction. Then coming to, after the introduction, we come to conceptual framework and research hypothesis. So this is a fancy way of writing literature review, but this is, I consider it to be a better term instead of literature review, that what is the conceptual framework. Okay, what are the different concepts which you are studying in this following study, and before you, what other authors have expressed about these concepts, okay, and how you have come up with your premises of research. So your premises of research is your hypothesis. So this is a very beautiful way of justifying your hypothesis. So here they have mentioned various authors who have done their research and how you have come up with your hypothesis. Then here they in the different ways so here in different ways they have mentioned the different hypotheses. This is H10. Now coming up to the research methodology, what are the data sources you have used, okay, that then what are the measurement scales you will be using. Okay, so here they have properly mentioned the questionnaire was translated from English to Spanish and then back translated to check the validity of the translation. So you have to check the validity of your questionnaire, how properly it is constructed, what are the validity of the content of your research study, what is the reliability level of your questionnaire. Everything has to be tested before you are submitting your research paper, okay. Then the questionnaire was used to collect the empirical data with which to test the hypothesis proposed in the study. The questionnaire comprised of 40 questions and 2 sections. So they have very specifically mentioned each and every point of the questionnaire so that there is no doubt in the mind of the reader, okay. Then data collection procedure, how you have collected the data and what is the percentage. So from example, from in the Spain, from Madrid they have collected the data from 5 cities, okay. So from Madrid 46.3% were the respondents, from Barcelona 23.2%, then Valencia 11.2, Sevilla 9.7 and Zaragoza 9.6. So in this manner very specifically you have to mention each and every content of your study. Then what are the statistical analysis you have used to provide the data, okay, to provide the proof to your data, to do the data analysis. So they have used, which they have already mentioned, they have used a smart PLS software to do the data analysis, okay. Then they have mentioned it properly, everything. Then the result of your study that you have to mention, okay. Then structural model result, everything they have mentioned very properly. So for example, you can here see, okay, that in the hypothesis this was the H1, H2 till H12. These are the hypotheses and these were the factors and how one factor is affecting the different factors. And they have come up with the beta value, the T value and everything. And they have here mentioned very beautifully that what is the confidence interval, okay, and how much is the percentage. So 1%, 5%, everything. So this is how you should write your research paper. Everything should be mentioned very properly. Then they have come up with the discussion of the result of the data analysis. Now here they are discussing, for example, the result of NILOC reinforced its importance as a significant determinant of ATT and SWI. So they have very properly mentioned all these terms beforehand, what is ATT, what is SWI and everything. Then come up with the implication, limitation and future research. So you cannot do everything or you cannot cover everything in your research paper. So definitely you give some scope to the another research paper. So now here I'm coming with a big point. So firstly they have mentioned the implication, means to whom is this research paper going to help, to the what are the practical implications, what are the societal implications, to whom this is going to be helpful, okay. The impact of the pandemic crisis, like all global uncertainty crises, have had unexpected consequence, okay. So they have mentioned this research has shown that in a situation of uncertainty consumers support locally produced food. So this is what they are trying to imply. Then this study has also mentioned what are the limitations, okay. So they have mentioned SMEs and micro businesses, okay, could seek the support of county council and city council to develop the joint promotional activities. So here they have mentioned some of the limitations, which is the first is the context of mobility restriction and physical social distance. So that time during the lockdown, we have the social distancing norms. So that's why this is one of the limitation of the study, that they were not able to do face to face data collection. Okay. And they have also mentioned that what are the future researches which can be done. So if I am about to do a research paper and I am trying to find the ideas about what I can study about, so this is the best way to get ideas. You go to Google Scholar, you go to ResearchGate, you go there and you put your wide topic on which you want to do research. So for example, I have already shown it to you, that go to the Google Scholar and write there that I want to study about consumer behavior. Put that as a keyword. Then there you will come up with numerous research papers, and then directly go to the future research part of the research paper, and there you study that part, and there you will get significant number of ideas, okay, that these researchers have mentioned, okay, that they were not able to do this part of the study, so you can do that. Okay, so here you can get beautiful ideas about what you can do and what they were not able to do because of different constraints. That can be the time constraint, that can be the budget constraint for the researchers. There are numerous constraints. Now, at last, they have mentioned the references, which papers they have used. So they have very properly mentioned the researchers whose paper they have used. So Sun et al. Okay, et al means others. Okay, so 2017 paper. So they must have mentioned here Sun et al. Okay, all that. Fine. So here they must have mentioned. So yes, Sun, why, and others. Okay, 2017. So this is how you do the research paper study. How you should come up with your study. Okay. So we have already covered all this. Your title page should be this. Okay. Then your title page, then your abstract, introduction, literature review, all that we have covered here. Okay, and after the references, you should put your tables and figures, because when you are submitting your paper, all these papers and tables have to be differently in a different file. You have to put your tables and figures, and when your paper is properly reviewed, then you should then they themselves they put all these tables and figures back to your research paper, and then they publish your paper. And at last, appendix. In appendix, you put different terms which you have used, the technical jargons you have used. You can explain all of them. Then you can also put your questionnaire which you have used, okay, to collect the data from the respondents. Now, after this, the step 6 should be the second draft. So once you have made the first draft of your paper, you should make a second draft. Okay, check how your vision of the paper line up in the first study. Does paper justify the research question raised? And be open to rearrange your ideas. Okay, so once you have written your research paper in the first draft, please do not consider that your part of writing a research paper is done. Okay, that is just the first draft, okay, the rough draft of your study. Now you should give your paper to your friends whom you can rely upon, that they are not going to leak your idea to someone else, okay, or they do themselves do not use that, because that very much happen nowadays, that plagiarism is happening in I mean, now the plagiarism is done on a very big level. Okay, so please give your research paper for proofreading only to the people whom you consider to be reliable enough, that they are not going to use your ideas for their own motives. Okay, so once the draft is prepared, prepare a second draft, give it to your friends, tell them to proofread, or you do a proofreading by yourself. Okay, ask your guide. Okay, your guide, I would say, is the best person whom you can rely upon. Okay, and ask them to please read that if they have time, and tell them to please give us the ideas about if there is something which is missing in the paper, okay, or any scope of improvement which could be done. And if they provide you some good ideas, be prepared, be flexible enough to put those ideas in your research paper and make your paper as much improved and as much better as you can. Then after everything is done, then do the revision. Once again, do the proofreading so that there is no mistake there in your paper from your side, and then follow the author and submission guideline. This we will talk about some in some other video. What are the author and submission guidelines, how you should follow them, how you come across them. Okay, then after the revision process is done, then you sent your research paper for the publication purpose. Now I'll mention I'll show you here. Like for example, I sent my paper to the Sage publication. Okay, so you have to do what? You have to publish your uh, you have to get your paper published. Okay, so firstly you have to do what? You have to uh, properly get registered on the publication, on the Sage publication and all that. And then there, after registering yourself, then you can submit your paper. Then after your paper is submitted, then there what they do is that after your paper is submitted, then you can submit your paper. So here they have given that your manuscript entitled this has been successfully submitted online and is presently being given full consideration for publication in Journal of Education Technology. So this kind of automated generated paper come up. Okay, then what happens many a time? Now here I am going to tell you that what are the failures you face. So I myself has learned from my own failures. There was no one who has told me that okay, just do this and don't do that. Okay, all of that you learn by yourself. There is no one to help you out. Either you are a researcher or you're doing a job, you know that no one helps you out. You have to do that you have to learn everything by yourself. So I'll tell you. So they have mentioned that, dear Dahiya, your manuscript has been unsubmitted from Sage Open. This means we are returning your article so you can make the following corrections. Okay, so they unsubmitted my paper. They told me to do the corrections and then submit it again to them. Okay, now this. Now I will tell you one more thing. So once your paper is submitted, and many a times the email like this, which I have shown you right now, these kind of emails come. Okay, then you do the correction, and then you send them again. Okay, so what I have faced was the minor rejection. Now I'll tell you that there are different stages of rejection also. So there are basically four types of rejection. Okay, the not four types of rejection, but four steps of getting your paper accepted. On the contrary, I'm saying. Okay, so the first is desk rejection. What do I mean by that? Is that, for example, you submitted your paper to a journal and then they will say that we are returning your paper. Okay, and we are not going to publish your paper because your paper is not as per the scope of our journal. So for example, if I have written a paper on consumer behavior satisfaction and I have submitted it to a journal which is the Journal of Education and Technology, now my paper is not at all as per the scope of their journal. Okay, so they will send it back to me. So that was it was what? It was a desk rejection for me. Okay, that they have instantly rejected my paper, that this is not as per our scope, please submit it to some other journal. Okay, so that is called as desk rejection. Or when your paper is um, very much not as per the standard of the journal. Okay, so when I studied my journey, I have faced a lot of desk rejection. Okay, that instantly I used to get a mail in a week that your paper is rejected, this is not as per our standards. Okay, so don't get disheartened by that. It means that you need to learn a lot. Okay, so that happens. Then this is the first type of rejection, which is the desk rejection. Then the second is minor revision. So if your paper has been not desk rejected, they have considered it, okay, we'll send it for a peer review purpose. Okay, so when the paper has been sent to a peer reviewer to get your paper reviewed, so that time what happens is uh, is that the peer reviewer will study your paper, and they will come up with some corrections which you should do in your paper to make it much better. Okay, so that is called as minor revision. Okay, so they will tell you to do the following revisions which we have mentioned here, and if you do the following revision, then we will uh, put your paper for the further process and it will be accepted. Then the third form of rejection, okay, not the third, it's not a part of rejection. I'm saying that again and again because that has been built in my mind because I have faced a lot of rejection. But the next form of getting your paper to the path of acceptance is that major revision. Okay, so a peer reviewer can also say that there are some big chunks of things which are missing in your paper, and I think you to make your paper much more improved is that you add those. Okay, so a major revision can also be told to you by the peer reviewer. They will mention you that you should do this or that. Okay, and then you should do that, and then again submit your paper for the review purpose. Okay, and at last is the acceptance stage. That is I think when I was doing some workshops, even the person who was taking a workshop, he told that he has never, and he have published I think around 40 research paper, and with at least 15 to 20 research papers in good scopus journals. Okay, in ABCD journals, ABDC journals, sorry. Okay, so he also told that he has never ever um, got his papers directly approved in a good journal. Okay, so always you face either a minor revision or a major revision, so never get disheartened by that. They just asking you to make yourself more better, to make your study more better. Okay, then here we'll discuss some of the reasons of rejections. Okay, so I have already told you the first is your manuscript. Okay, so your research paper, the draft of your research paper is called as a manuscript. Okay, so manuscript does not fall within the journal's aim and scope. Okay, so you are sending a consumer behavior study to an education and technology. Okay, so that is totally different from their scope. Then paper is under review at other journal, so please do not do that. Okay, we think to get a paper to be published fastly, we send it to different journals. Okay, and somehow they have contacts. Okay, so never do that. So if you have sent your paper to one journal and it is under consideration, okay, do not send the same paper to some other journal at that time. Okay, don't get I used to get very much panicked out that okay, I have written the paper now and I have to get it published very fastly, and now I have sent the paper to a journal, and now it's been 2 months and I have not get any sort of communication from them. So write a mail to them. Okay, but do not do that you are submitting to some other place. Okay, then writing is incomprehensive. They cannot make out a proper judgment of what you are trying to express through your words. Okay, so make your paper very comprehensible, clear and concise. Then does not conform to the writing style of the journal. So this is a very big part. Okay, so this we'll discuss in some other video, that how to follow the author's submission guidelines. Then research does not add value to the journal. This also is also a major reason of your paper not getting submitted, is that your paper does not have something new. Okay, then unclear hypothesis, what you are trying to research about is not clear. Okay, then evidence means you have just collected data from 50 respondents, you should have collected data from at least 200, 300. Okay, so there is lack of supporting evidence. Then poor analysis has been done. Okay, wrong research methodology. Okay, you should have used correlation and regression and you used chi-square method. Okay, or you should use factor analysis, confirmatory factor analysis or exploratory, and you have not used anything. You just have done a visual analysis using bar charts and all that. okay, then inconclusive results, your results are not conclusive, then violation of research ethics, okay, you have used some other person's study and you have shown it as your own. Do not do that, that is very unethical. Now, this is one of the comments, these are some of the comments by the editors which we see, okay, when your paper get rejected, okay. And at last we are to the end of our video. If there will be anything, any problem which you are facing currently in your research paper or getting a paper research published, you can contact me. I have mentioned here my email ID and you can contact me, and definitely I'll try to help you as much as I can. Okay, thank you.